Welcome back to Six Pennies podcast. We have all six pennies here today, and it's Thursday, so hopefully you guys know what that means. It's time for another pocket change segment. It's gonna be our fourth installment today. And in case you don't know or been living under a rock or something, pocket change is where we gather up all the loose change from all your questions and comments for various topics that you would want us to go through on a podcast, and we just go through 2 or 3 of them per episode. So today we have 3 repeater questioners or requesters for these topics, and the first one is from Jason Wang, a loyal fan of the podcast. He asks verbatim, what are your top 3 dynasty professional sports teams that you have witnessed with your eyes as opposed to your other senses? Timmy, let's start with you.
Well, Jason Wang, our number one most loyal fan. I'm glad that he is asking us questions again. And it's funny to bring up the eyes thing because that's clearly the most important sense, huh? My picks have to be the Spurs and the Patriots for the best dynasty sports teams. We weren't around for those, the older Celtics, Lakers teams. So Spurs and the Patriots just have been dominant for so many years. The Spurs, for Tim Duncan's entire time, for 19, 20 seasons of always 50-plus wins, even when there was a lockout and there were only 66 games played. Even before that, they only tanked one season to get Duncan, and they had, several good years with David Robinson getting to the Western Conference Finals, losing to the Rockets, And then the Patriots in NFL have to be the other big one because they've been good for 15-plus years with Belichick and Brady, always winning 9 to 10 games every single year. So those are my picks.
Yeah, those are good picks. I would just say for those 2 specifically, it's hard for me. They didn't make my top 3 just because a lot of my memories of them consist of their losses. With the Spurs losing to in 7 games in the finals to the Heat with that Ray Allen Game 6 game winner or big time 3, and with the Patriots losing twice in the Super Bowl, including their undefeated season to Eli Manning, which I'm sure Albert can expand on a little more since he's our NFC East expert. But Albert, what do you think?
This was kind of tough for me because, initially my reaction was it has to be Jordan's Bulls, but I mean, I feel like the competition they played, I know I'm in the minority with this, but I think that the 90s Chicago Bulls teams just didn't play really good teams. And so...
What?
Yeah, and so I just think that by default, when you have the best player, then you're just going to win. And so maybe that's why I don't give him as much credit as another person. So to answer your question, Jason, I would say the top 3 dynasty sports teams that I've seen, especially recently, is definitely Alabama college football. Even though they lost this year, Deshaun Watson, went off on them and had that last-second game-winning touchdown. But what Nick Saban has done and what he continues to do, I don't think they're going to slow down any in the next 5 years. They'll probably pick up another 2 to 3 more championships. And once, that's all settled and done, he'll have the most championships of all time. And Bama is basically, untouchable. And then the second team for me, and I guess I'm on this, college sports motif, but UConn women's basketball, they just don't lose. I think, they've won, 103 games in a row or something. And what's insane is that I just listened to this on the radio, but they drafted the top 3 draft picks of the WNBA draft this past year all came from UConn. So basically their entire starting lineup left, and they still came back this year and still have an undefeated season. So it's just ridiculous to me. So for me, I can't name a third team. I would say the top 2 for me are Bama and UConn. But the most dominant individual athlete in my lifetime would probably be either Roger Federer or Tiger Woods.
Yeah, that's fair. That takes a lot for you to admit. I know you're not a big Roger Federer fan, right?
I'm not a big fan, but yeah, I can admit he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I agree with you for A few of those. I just hate Bama too much. I couldn't put them in there. UConn women for sure belong in there. Left them off my list. Yeah, those are good picks again. But yeah, you're right. The Bulls did not play the greatest teams because the greatest team of that era was the 94-95 Rockets with Hakeem Olajuwon wrecking shop on everyone.
True.
But so they never met in the finals, unfortunately, so that argument will never be put to rest. But all of Houston knows what would have happened. But the Bulls are in my top three, as well as Tiger Woods. So Tiger Woods, I'm not a fan of his anymore for obvious or various reasons, I guess. But back in the day, when I was growing up, this was even before I really followed golf. I hadn't even picked up a club yet, but I would still tune in every Sunday to watch him play. He was that dominating, and I just loved his fist pumps. Wearing all red. I had like a couple of his hats, even though I didn't even play golf. And my third one would be Serena Williams. She's dominating, and she's the only person that I can truly say that we've witnessed like the greatest of all time in her prime. So those are my three.
Yeah,
I have a problem with...
she's like the epitome of being able to turn on and turn off the switch. Like that's her biggest attribute. Go ahead, Timmy.
Why are you guys both picking individual athletes? The question is professional sports teams. And Albie, you didn't have a single professional sports team either. You did 2 college teams.
Oh yeah, I did.
You guys are just not answering the question at all. And Mock, I mean, your point about the Bulls, obviously they didn't face the Rockets, but they faced some awesome teams in the East, getting through the Knicks and the Pacers, and then played some really good teams in the finals too. I mean, it's not like the Jazz and the Sonics were bad.
They were pretty bad.
They played, Barkley and the Suns. They played Drexler. They played Magic and the Lakers. I mean, they beat a ton of good teams. My only issue with the Bulls is that it was, 3 years. There was a break, and then 3 more years. So that didn't really feel like the full dynasty for me. They would probably be my third team, though.
Do you guys think that Chicago would have won the second 3 if he didn't retire?
If he didn't retire.
Like, the argument is always like, man, if Jordan stayed, they would have won 8 straight, which I completely disagree with. But do you think he would have even reached 6 if he didn't retire? So my argument is that the reason why the Bulls won 3 more after his retirement is because he tasted adversity again. Like, he finally was not, the champion, and he willed himself to work himself back into being the best player in the NBA. And I think without the hiatus, he wouldn't have had that like episode in his life.
Yeah, I think it's hard to know that, because like Mock and I think they probably wouldn't have won the next year, that 4th one.
It's definitely not just you and Mock.
Maybe a loss there could have hyped him up just as much to win a few more.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it just like played out for him perfectly to reach 6. But I will say, if Chicago Bulls front office wasn't like a bunch of bozos and kept them together after the second three-peat, they probably would have won a 7th one.
No, I mean, I think MJ was going to retire either way after that 6th one, right?
No, he wanted to stay.
No?
You don't remember this like huge story between him, Phil Jackson, and Scottie Pippen? Yeah, Jerry Krause basically said, "We don't need you guys."
There's both sides to the argument, and I do think that he would have still gotten 3, just because there was never a point in that entire 8, well, except for the couple of years when Olajuwon was those MVP seasons, but there was never a point where Jordan was not the undisputed best player in the NBA. But it might be what you're kind of saying about Serena, like turning it on and off and bringing it to a whole nother level, right? And yeah, Timmy, thanks for calling us out for not really answering the question. But at the same time, you didn't really answer it either. You asked for top 3, you only gave 2.
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah. So sorry, Jason. We did answer and didn't answer at the same time. Let's move on to the second question. This one comes from Chelsea Chen, and she just asks, "What are our favorite uniforms / logos?" So Albert, let's start with you for this one.
I couldn't really think of logos, but as far as uniforms, to me, color is everything. So if it's like all black or all white, or yeah, like all black, like those color rush jerseys that the NFL does on like Thanksgiving, or like the all black jerseys that back in the day, like Miami Heat wore for Christmas. Like those jerseys to me are the coolest. They're the cleanest. As far as like logos and stuff, I can't really name one, but I will say, the Color Rush and the Christmas jersey are really seasonal. There is one team that I love, and they wear this jersey like 24/7. They're actually known as the All Blacks, and it's the New Zealand rugby team. And to me, they have the cleanest jerseys.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember a video of them doing like their ceremonial dance or something. But Timmy, what about you?
Yeah, I had a little trouble too because I don't really think of any jerseys or logos being that great. One that comes to mind, like a new logo, is the Milwaukee Bucks. They redesigned theirs last year, and it looks really cool. I like that. There's like different little hidden things within the logo showing like the M for Milwaukee, and then like the buck and his like his antlers. So that one's pretty cool. I also like the Washington Wizards. His antlers
make a ball too, right? His antlers form like a basketball.
Something like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like the Washington Wizards alternate jersey right now that has like a really patriotic theme, has like some stars and stripes on it. Unfortunately, they're still called the Wizards, which makes no sense. So that kind of throws them out of the conversation. I also really like the Oregon Ducks football uniforms when they have like different alternate color pathways, just because they're headquartered right next to the Nike headquarters, so they get a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, the Ducks are nice. They're just so spoiled by Nike. Like I feel like they wear a different jersey every single game. So for me, it's all about color as well. Like Albert, you were saying, my color is blue, and it just sucks because it's completely opposite of all of the Rockets and all of Houston stuff. So my favorite jersey of all time that I've ever owned is the retro, like royal blue Lakers jersey that I had. This was I got it with number 8 for Kobe, and it's just royal. Yeah, it's royal blue. Well, I had to sell it because I'm no longer a fan, but it's royal blue all over, and it says Los Angeles in cursive along the front, and just looks really clean. But what about, let's go the opposite. So what are your least favorite or the worst uniforms and logos?
Well, the easiest answer is obviously the late 90s Houston Rockets. After we won 2 championships, deciding to change to a cartoon logo rocket, just ruining our chances from like 96 through 2002, Houston. 2003 or something.
Yeah, that was such a bad idea. It just ruined our whole mojo. But it wasn't just us. I feel like that whole time period, like everyone kind of went a little cartoony, right? Like the Raptors, I remember, did, like Minnesota Timberwolves had, like, everyone started putting like cartoons in their thing. Albert, what about you? What do you think?
The Rockets was clearly the worst one, though.
It was the worst.
The Mavericks at that time were so bad they couldn't even afford to put like a cartoon on their jersey. But yeah, so like I was saying, colors are my favorite. So all black, all white, some blue. My least favorite, the color I hate the most, is by far red. And basically all of Houston sports, Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls jersey. Like I love his black jerseys. Those are so much cooler than the red ones. So anything red to me, like it's really nasty. Also, the Atlanta Hawks current alternate jersey, I think it's like lime green or something. Those are really bad.
Yeah, anytime they do like really weird neon colors or bright colors, I hate that. So like, that's a good example. And then just Boise State's field with the bright orange or bright blue. Oh man, that just hurts your eyes through the TV.
Yeah, Baylor. I had Baylor basketball written down here the same way. Just they go neon every so often, just as if you forgot about them or something. But yeah, thanks for the question. And let's go on to our final question for today. This one comes from our friend Show You, and he asks, well, he didn't really put it in the form of a question, but just what are the top bachelor party destinations? This is obviously kind of near and dear to your heart right now, Albert. Let's start with you.
Are we sure he meant the top bachelor party destinations, not the bottom?
You can go either way.
This does kind of hit home for me because a few weeks ago I was Googling for my own bachelor party, and basically, the same 5-7 cities came up everywhere on every list on Google, from New York to Miami, New Orleans. But the city that really, really surprised me was Montreal. And I did a little more research about Montreal and the things that they offer. And I understand why it's for bachelors and not for bachelorettes. But other than that, for me, I would say anything, because I like the outdoors. So I like a mixture of like the casino with hiking, with good food. So like for me, I ended up choosing like either Seattle or Boston or something like that. What about you, Muck?
I think it all goes down to what characteristics you're specifically looking for, right? For me, the city that I'm looking for, it kind of has to have it all. Sports teams is kind of a must. Just for that whole scene, it's just always a good option. You guys can just go catch a game or something together, random game. Casino is also a must as well. And also, late night city life. So you gotta have a good bar scene there too. So with those three considered, my top right now, and it kind of bleeds over into the top cities to visit podcast that we did together, me and Timmy. But Denver is top of my list right now. You can just kind of do it all there. You can do hiking outside. You can do snowboarding, and in the winter you can. I'm going there in a couple of weeks, and we're planning on hiking if it's not too cold. And my favorite casino is there as well. New Orleans is a really close second. We just went to a bachelor party, a couple months ago for friends of ours, and it was really fun. They're like took over the city. There are like 30 guys there for the party, but it was a good sized town where you can walk around everywhere, and we just met up for a few meals. But other than that, the time was kind of all up to us. And my third one would be Austin. It doesn't have the casino that I need, but other than that, it's got everything else. Timmy, what about you?
Did you guys like having 30 guys in New Orleans?
It was really fun.
Mock, at your bachelor party, wasn't it also like 30 guys or something? And we did not really go to any nightlife.
We went to one bar that I can recall off the top of my head.
Nobody wanted to drink anything. I had to get around for like 8 people and force people to get a drink with me.
Well, we had way too much to drink at the lake house already.
I don't know about you guys, but I got really drunk at Yamato.
Yes, we all remember that very well. My choice for a bachelor party, I like it to be a little smaller. I've been to a couple that were huge, and I like it when it's 8 to 10 guys, and you guys were both at mine. I decided to go on a cruise because, while cities are fun, I think I just like relaxing and not doing much. And you guys both mentioned having a casino. I mean, the cruise casino is the best because it's so cheap, and then there's so few people there that you can really own tables really quickly, get to know the dealers, and then food options. There's food, whatever food you want. You can sneak in alcohol. It's everything. Cruises are the best.
That's a good call. Cruises, I feel like, are always a good idea. Like, you can never go wrong with a cruise. It's just everything's all inclusive there, and you can sneak alcohol in or bring your own alcohol, and it's just so cheap too. Such a cheap vacation.
You guys want to go on a cruise this weekend and record some podcasts?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know about this weekend. I'll see you in Dallas this weekend, Albert. But yeah, let's. I guess we can go ahead and wrap this one up. Thanks again for everyone for tuning in today. Please like us on Facebook at Six Pennies Podcast and follow us on Twitter at Six Pennies Pod.